Welcome back to Success and Equity on BCTV. I'm your host, Francis Marin. Today we're talking to my former radio partner, Jared Meathead Mann. And he made a decision right out of high school. Well, he made a bunch of decisions, but the bottom line is...
Not all of them were good decisions.
Right, but they were decisions nonetheless. And you finished your college career without a degree, and then you got into radio, and everything was golden for over a decade.
Yeah, I considered that my college career because I really learned everything grassroots from the bottom up. Like, I started at the very bottom, worked my way up to the top of that market.
And to be clear, you could walk into any radio station in town right now and run their board and kill 4 hours. No problem.
No, that's nothing. I mean, hey, if anyone's listening and you want a show, we're right here, we're available. But no, I chose that as my education, and I worked, and I, had a nice living and a nice life. And then I came here, and I was introduced to Bakersfield, and I was here on the air for about five years or so, a little more than 5 years. And then, it all stopped. It all ended.
Right. And those things happen.
That does happen.
Budgets change.
Right. And you look for work, and, the economy, and sometimes you just can't find what you're looking for and what you're good at doing. And there's some things that you can't get because you don't have the skills for them.
Or the degree for that matter.
And so I had I've always tinkered with writing, creative writing, short stories, songs, all that good stuff. And my wife threw out one day, you should take a class at BC for your writing.
What was your first reaction to that?
My first reaction was kind of on the fence because I remembered my prior employment as a student.
And you said you just weren't a good student.
I wasn't a good student.
Okay.
I wasn't. But I did realize that the older I got, the greater my capacity for learning had become. I realized when I would watch certain documentaries, and I would be interested, and I would end up researching things and teaching myself certain things about history or whatnot.
Wait, you're not a dumb guy.
Right, no.
And a lot of our viewers are in the same boat where they're naturally curious and interested in things.
Yeah, and, so that conversation kind of increased to maybe just go back to school and get my degree. And I said, okay. And I did. And surprisingly enough, my attitude has completely changed over the last 20 years. I mean, granted, I'm an older guy now, and I'm not where I was when I was 18, 19 years old. And, I was ready. And my grades were showing that I was ready, and I was doing fairly well. I made a dean's list. That's something I never even fathomed.
Did you? Yeah, I know you.
Never even fathomed I could make a dean's list. Are you kidding me? That's nothing I would ever do.
And I've seen your name on said list, and that actually happened. But you are what we call a returning student.
Yes.
You're not 18.
No. And it was weird because that was one of my trepidations at the beginning was I'm going to walk into these classes and I'm going to be the creepy old guy. And
how did that feel?
At first, I just went with it. I was just like, what, I might look a little older, I might be a little older, but I'm still very young at heart. I'm still a jokester. I'm still a foul-mouthed beast when I need to be. And I felt like I could relate to the younger guys and the younger girls, and I did. And it was interesting because I would be able to absorb the material. And I found certain students would actually be coming to me for help. Yeah, it was mind-blowing. I didn't really expect that ever to happen. And my history professor, who I just adored, Erin Miller over at BC, and she would have me kind of get up in front of the class and, not lecture, but explain certain points of views or whatnot. And I would take leads in debates and whatnot, and I would find kids after class kind of having me try to explain it to them the way I would explain. Like we were talking about Montezuma, and I would just be like, hey, well, listen, Monty wasn't the nicest of guys. All right? So he did some bad things, and some people didn't like it. And I would just kind of try to explain it in their terms. And so I would always get the reaction of like, man, you would make a great teacher. And when I was a freshman in high school, I walked into my mass media class, and the teacher, Mr. Weddle, was standing on the desk videotaping us. That could be considered creepy today's day and age. But then I thought it was awesome. I was like, okay, because I'm very interested in media and mass media, and that's the direction I want to go in. So I know I'm going to enjoy this class. But this guy's teaching it, and he's videotaping it, and instantly, I just remember this vividly. I had the epiphany that, well, if I don't become a famous actor or director or a radio star, I'll be a teacher. It was right then and there when I was a freshman. I said, that's going to be my backup. That's it right there. And now here I am going to school and almost getting ready to graduate from BC and move on to California State. And, you know, I'm really leaning towards becoming a high school teacher.
I think that's amazing. And I'm blown away because I'm thinking about other people who might be watching, who might be in a returning student position themselves. Maybe they were, you know, the oil industry, very unfortunately, and knock on wood, we hope the barrel price bounces back soon, but it's not where we want it to be right now. And maybe somebody's been a welder for their whole life, and now they're in their 30s, and they're horrified at the prospect of going back to college. But what you're telling me is some of your life experience has really been useful, and you have perspective.
I'll tell this to all returning students. I'll send this message out to all the corners of the earth. If you're an older returning student, if you took some years off and you went and you lived in the real world, all that experience, all that education that you didn't even realize at the time was education, because that's what you're doing. You're just learning through life. You come back to school and you just kill it. I mean, and I say this wholeheartedly, if I can do it. Because I'm not the kind of guy who sits there and studies 20 hours a week. I absorb the material. I talk about the material. I am interested in the material, and then I know the material.
Wow.
You know, and then if you're interested in it, you know, if you find a way to find it interesting, find an angle. It doesn't matter what subject it is. If you find something and you find your fancy with it, you just absorb it. Wow. Naturally, without even trying.
Now, you have taken advantage of the Writing Center, right? Didn't you?
I have.
Okay, and was that helpful?
It was very helpful.
The Writing Center is a place where you can go and get tutoring on how to write academic papers.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, I mean, not just academic papers, but also they'll help you, research and resumes. I mean, they'll help you put some stuff out there. They won't do it for you, but they will guide you, and they will definitely make sure you leave with a better understanding of what you're doing. And that's all you can really ask.
You also got help through financial aid. We didn't get wealthy through radio, right?
No. I was. Luckily able to get my educated thanks to the Board of Governors, the BOG waiver.
Awesome.
Paid for my classes. I took care of the books. One semester I was able to get some Pell Grant.
Nice.
That took care of all my books and took care of classes. So yeah, it was. It's been great. I mean, that's really what helped. I mean, I'll be honest with you. If you're in a financial situation to where financial aid will help you or the BOG waiver will help you, I mean, don't waste your time. Just find out if that's the case, because then there's no reason not to go back to school. You know,
wow.
You can adjust your schedule for your work life. I mean, obviously, I'm a student. I got 2 jobs. I got a wife.
Yeah, all your pets.
Yeah, all my pets. My pet peeves, everything. You just got to schedule your life accordingly and organize. And the older you get, the easier it is to do.
And there's a lot of help up there at the college.
Oh.
You wouldn't have made it this far.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, if you ever have any questions about your social life, your academic life, how to adjust, I definitely suggest the Office of Student Life.
Dr. DeMania and all his folks.
Dr. DeMania, those guys are amazing. The student government, those guys. We're actually working on a video right now, what is student government? And I'll tell you, what I've learned is that there's so many people at BC, and, everyone has a voice, but not all those voices can be heard. But if you share your opinions, concerns, comments, questions with those folks in student government who are your peers, they're your face. They're the face of your voice at BC. I can't believe I just used that line. Clayton, president, he threw that line at me when we were shooting the other day, and I'm using it right now. So they are the face of the voice of BC students, and they get stuff done.
Well, there you go. This guy went from interviewing over 800 celebrities and killing hundreds of thousands of hours on the radio, and he's reinventing himself in the middle of life, and it's never too late.
Never.
It's never too late.
Never too late. Like, I'm a 40-year-old man going to BC, and I'm not the oldest. You know, there's a guy who walks around campus, and I have nothing but respect for him because I see him walking around town, too. He's an older guy, big beard. Not me. But he is always, every semester, taking classes. Every semester. And I think at this point, he's just taking him to just learn what he doesn't know. And that's something you can do.
We have a woman named Karen who came on the show once, and this is one of the most incredible stories I've ever heard. And I know we're running out of time. The producer's blowing out my ear right now. But she had kids. She had children, and she still wanted to be involved in education, even though she was a stay-at-home mom with several kids. So she took one class a semester starting from like 19.
Oh, wow.
And then when she was like 40, she went in to see a guidance counselor at BC and was like, you know what? My kids are all grown and out of the house. I think I might want to maybe like see if I could maybe get a degree. And the guidance counselor like, oh, let me look up your and she was like, 4 units away from having a PhD. Not quite that, but true story. Dude, she now is Dr. Karen.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so she totally followed through on it, got her bachelor's, I think her master's, and then ended up being a PhD candidate, and that, of course, worked out. So it's never too late. Anything can happen, and my former partner is living proof. I'm very proud of you. I'm glad it's worked out well.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you on.
Appreciate it.
Coming up next, we're going to check in with some other folks who have reinvented themselves at 1801 Panorama. That's right, the house on the hill. Bakersfield College is a place where your next dream can come true. Don't go anywhere. We've got a professional photographer coming up next.